Bitcoin price is currently struggling to hold this key area of support. If it breaks, then guess what? Bitcoin and the altcoins are going to come down lower. But don't worry, they're not going to come down that much lower. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly where Bitcoin and the altcoins are likely to bounce. I'm also going to talk about why we've seen this pattern play out multiple times before in the bull market, and that it's actually a good thing if we can see a dip sooner rather than later. And I'm going to talk about the key similarities now that I'm seeing between crypto and the Netflix show Squid Games. So do me a favor, hit that like button and let's get into today's video. Now guys, before we dive in and find out more about that left field Netflix similarity thing, let's understand a little bit more about where Bitcoin is right now and why we shouldn't be panicking. Now guys, before I tell you this, don't run away and sell your altcoins because Bitcoin could absolutely bounce from here. I just think it's becoming less and less likely, and I'm also going to show you why it's a good thing. Now, as we can see, Bitcoin has been traveling sideways ever since it arrived in this range from about the 13th of November. You can see it's gone up, and every single time it's been bouncing roughly in this purple box. Now, contrary to what you've been told by some of the YouTubers out there, the more times an area of support or resistance is hit, that area doesn't get stronger. It doesn't mean that it's more likely to bounce here because it spent lots of time here. In fact, it's more likely to fail and see it go lower more times it visits, because simply every time it's bouncing, you're having people coming in and buying crypto. But there's only a certain number of buyers who are willing to pay this current price for it. And if those buyers start to dry up and the sellers continue to sell, then guess what? The price will simply come down lower. That isn't anything we should be worried about. Why shouldn't we be worried about it? Well, because simply Bitcoin does this literally every time. Okay, it's been doing it every single time in this bull market so far. You can see it goes sideways, it takes a dip, and then it rips towards the upside. It goes sideways, it takes a dip, it goes up, it goes sideways, takes a dip, it goes up, it goes sideways, it takes a dip. So this is actually a positive thing, okay? Because at the moment, if we just continue to like mess around here, who knows how long we could stay bouncing around this area. Therefore, if we do dip down, okay, we will send higher sooner than you think. This is just basically a liquidity trap. It will be there to try and freak you out. I'm just making this video so that if it happens, you don't freak out and you're prepared for it. So how much lower can it go? Well, let me simply show you why these particular bounces are happening in certain areas. You can see on the chart, very key areas that I like to refer to as buy zones, seen here in these purple boxes. Now, what I want you to look at right now is some of these candlesticks, these big green candlesticks, okay? These big green candlesticks indicate huge amounts of money flooding into Bitcoin at any given time. This isn't money that's coming from you, me, and little Timmy, or whoever else is buying crypto right now. It's coming more than likely from bigger institutional buyers, from venture capital, from all sorts of others, okay? These people don't want to pay premiums for their crypto. They want to pay at certain prices. Therefore, they might have wanted to pay at that given time $24,000 for Bitcoin. You can see that that price couldn't hold very long. It then shoots out. And then what they do is they wait for the price to return to the area. They have their order set. And if it dips back in, they can then top up the bag once more. They're ready to go. Okay, so what we simply need to do is identify some of the big green candles, where they originated from, draw a box around the origination. You can see that when they bounce in, often it would simply bounce from those areas, although obviously that one did go a little bit lower. And look, you can see it happens again here. Okay, so the price of Bitcoin comes and rallies really hard from this particular area, and in fact from down here it rallies all the way up. Guess what? If you draw a straight line across, it dips back into that area before it carries on towards the upside. So simply all that's happening at these points is the market's being forced down to a point that there's big enough orders to then send it higher, because the sellers have been exhausted. The sellers right now are manipulating the markets. They're trying to get people out so that they can push the price a little bit lower. Now, there's not that many buyers in the market right now who are willing to push the price higher because they don't want to be paying up above $100,000 for Bitcoin. What they want to do is create fear, create news stories that are causing more and more panic, create price structure that is going to get lots of newbies out there to start thinking, I don't really want to be in crypto, to sell their Bitcoin so that it brings the price down a little bit more, and then those institutions will be able to buy up all of that liquidity before the price goes higher. The reason I'm showing you this right now is to tell you that you shouldn't panic if the worst happens, because the worst is really not going to be that bad. So since we've got our support area here, there is obviously a chance that we see a bounce, but where can we identify areas down below that would also offer similar support bands? Now, it's quite tricky on a daily chart, this is the 1 day chart, to be able to see what's going on. And this is on tradingview.com. If you simply go up and click on where it says 4 hours or 4H, then you can see just down below certain areas to pay attention to. Okay, you can go and draw these here. You can see from this area here, around 86 down to around $85,000, there is a lot of big candles sort of bouncing out of this area. This shows that there is buying going on. You can see it goes into this box, it bounces, goes into the box, it bounces out the area. There's a good chance that Bitcoin comes down towards this area here. And you can see there's also other areas like this, where we get this little sideways candlestick here before sending higher. That is much lower down. That's around $80,000. I would be slightly shocked if that happens, and I'll show you why I would be shocked just looking here. Now, this is coinglass.com. If you go to the liquidations and go to liquidation heat map, then it gives you this picture here. Now, what you can see is lots of different colors. The yellow simply indicates where lots of liquidity is. Now, lots of people who are placing long trades will have stop losses down here. Effectively, they're buying on leverage, so that if the price comes down low enough, it'll either liquidate them or it will hit a stop loss, forcing them to sell. These areas are highlighted in yellow. What the market makers, the big money who try and control the markets, are doing all the time is to try and move the price in and out of this areas of liquidity. Okay, this first area of liquidity sits down at $89,970 down to around $86,000. Does that correspond to our box then? Down towards $85,000? Absolutely. Okay, so that is a very key area to pay attention to. If we look down lower, there is then more liquidity that then sits down around $80,000. If the Bitcoin price was to return down towards this area, then guess what? It soaks up the liquidity and then it sends much higher. So while I appreciate it's pretty scary if the markets move lower, it's actually a pretty good thing, because the sooner it gets on and does it, pulls that band-aid off, the sooner we know that we are going higher. Because right now, a dip into this area isn't really showing us much. A lot of people are sitting on the fence right now, not really sure which way it's going to move, and that's because it's sat in the middle of this range like this. We need to see it either go lower or just get on with it and pump higher. But the problem is, if it does pump higher, there is a more chance of a more significant pullback in the future. Therefore, we can then just use this method again to identify where pullbacks might end up. This is also really handy for identifying when to be buying altcoins. This, for example, is Sensei, a coin I've talked about on the channel a few times, an AI coin. You can see, again, it bounces very strongly from this key area here, it goes up. Look what happens when it returns into that zone, it bounces up. Comes back down. Right now it has dipped just below. In fact, it dipped to this next buy zone area here. You can see it's now perfectly being bought up here. There's no guarantee that it bounces in that buy zone or this one, but it will bounce in one of them. Okay, it will bounce in one of them, and if we know it's going to bounce in one of them, it allows us to feel a lot calmer about that price falling down against us, and we're not likely to panic sell, and in fact it gives us an opportunity to buy. Sensei, as you can see, sat in this nice buy zone. Other coins. This is My Lovely Coin from My Lovely Planet. Coin I've spoken about recently, and one I will be talking about in more depth later on this week. When I talk about key gaming coins, you can see again has been bouncing from this key area. Right now it's slightly above there in this sort of symmetrical triangle pattern, but if it does dip into this area around 47 cents, looks pretty good value. Other ones, Based AI. Again, look, this is not me making it up. I'm not choosing favorites. I'm just going through a list of different coins. Again, you can see Based AI right now has been rallying previously from this area. You can see the prices on the right hand side, okay, where I've drawn these boxes. So if you want to go back and pause, do that. So what you can see is these big green candles emerging from here. Go to the right hand side, it rallies aggressively again. Look, from this first rally out of that box, it goes up 84%. Right now, it's kind of going into this zone again. It's getting bought up. Can it go lower? Of course. But look, you're so much better off buying down here, where it's now 159% back to that previous high, even though you probably bought up here because you were FOMOing in, but typically that's what we do when we're new, okay? If you are new and you've been FOMOing in recently and a lot of your altcoins are sat in the red, I promise you it was because you were FOMOing in. You didn't buy bad coins, you just bought them at a bad time, okay? Probably you bought good coins that were going up a lot, everyone was talking about them, you bought at a bad time. But if you want to know exactly how to find better entries, well, first of all, we're doing it now, but also in the future I'm going to talk about coins that are still at good value, good opportunities to get in and be able to make some significant gains. Make sure you subscribe, notification bell turned on, because I'm going to teach you how to fish during this crypto market, and you yourself will become an expert who can actually make lots of money in this market and into the next bull market as well, rather than just blindly buying coins not knowing what they are. Anyway, sales pitch over. Let's go on. Look, Lingo again bounces down into this area, goes up. Again, look, it's finding support in the same area. Look at these big green candles. Someone is buying Lingo in big quantities in and around this price area here. Coming down, Ondo, a coin that everyone was desperate to get into a few weeks ago, is now returning down towards this buy zone area. In fact, around here, I do expect that it might get a little bit lower into here, and then we could expect to see maybe a bit of a bounce as well. What we can see right now is Bitcoin is slowly working its way down to $91,900. at the time of making this video. Who knows where it's going to be by the time it's edited and uploaded. Either way, guys, if Bitcoin sticks around here or it comes down here, the same result will come out at the end. Therefore, you need to do either one of two things. Right now, you just need to hold. If it comes down here, you probably just need to hold. If it comes down here, then you guess what? You just need to hold. If you've got more money to buy the dip, which of course you don't because everyone's been telling you to buy the dip for the last year, then don't worry, okay? You just have to be patient, it comes back up. If you've got money to buy the dip, congratulations. You are in a good position because you can bring down the average price that you paid for a particular coin. For example, if a coin is worth $1 and you pay $100 for it, then it comes down to being worth 50 cents. Now you've only got $50 in this. But guess what? If you were to go and add another $25 here, then you would now be sat on $75 at this level. If the price then returns back up here, then guess what? You've now got $150 all the way up here. Dips are actually a positive thing to have in bull markets because they buy us more time to earn more money to put into the markets, as long as we're not doing it too late. And we're still kind of early in this market cycle, which I think is going to end around October. If you want to see the video I made yesterday, you're going to understand why I think it ends around October the 21st of this year. Now, I know there's a lot of absolute legends down in the comments right now being like, oh, what a lot of waffle. Fair enough. Okay, I do go on, but let's get into the important stuff. What the F has Squid Games got in common with crypto? I hear you cry. Well, that is a very good question. And it's all to do with psychology. Basically, I can tell you time and time again, right now, what to do with Bitcoin if Bitcoin was to take a dip down to here. And I can tell you that it's going to be all right and things are going to be okay. And you're like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm ready for this. If Bitcoin does take that dip, it's going to be okay. The bull market's not over. But guess what? The market falls like this. Your SUI bag or your XRP or whatever it is that you bought is down 15, 20% in a single day. And you're like, holy crap, okay? This guy doesn't know what he's on about. It's gone down far harder than he said it would. And you go panicking like crazy. And here's how it ties into Squid Games. If you've been watching Squid Games recently, then just be patient while I explain this particular game to the people who haven't watched it. Squid Games is basically a lot of grown-ups who need the money playing a rather dangerous game, which is kind of like crypto. And each of these different games is famous Korean children's games. This show is based in Korea, by the way. Now, throughout each of these different games, they're given simple rules. And if you break those simple rules, you get killed. All until the end of the Squid Games, which is like 10 different games, where you have like one person left who keeps a massive pool of money. Now, what you can see in this particular image is all the people running at the back. They have to run towards where we're looking at it right now in order to cross a line of safety. But they've got this girl who's basically watching out for people moving. Now, when she's looking away, you're allowed to run. So she says green light, she looks away, people start to run. And then when she says red light, she turns around, she spots the people that are moving, then obviously the sniper's up there going to shoot all those people. And you're like, okay, well, if you weren't waffling before, you're waffling now. Get on with it. Okay, bear with me. Okay, I'm getting to the good bit. Right now is Squid Games 2, which means there's already been one. And this guy, Song Ji-hung, was the winner of the first Squid Game. He then went back in. If you want to go and find out why he did, then go and watch the show. And he then tells everyone who don't know the rules of the game that if you move, you will be shot. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, is he really telling the honest truth? But they don't really want to test him on it, so they then kind of like stand still, even though he's like, whatever you do, stay calm, because you will be shot if you move. And they're all like, yeah, okay, fine. They get on with it. They start running. And this is kind of like crypto, right? I tell you to remain calm. If the markets start to dip, then don't panic. Things are going to be okay. But what happens? You listen to me, you take it on board, and then still what happens? Something bad. And then everyone goes and panics again. What happens in Squid Games? This girl here gets a bee on her neck. It stings her. She gets shot. Everyone else then just completely loses their shit and then starts running away. And then the girl at the front spotting them all, and then they're all getting shot. Why does this happen? Well, because they don't really have faith in the guy who told them about it, and because they've never played that game before. And I know when you've never played this game before, it can be incredibly scary. And this happened to me. In the last bull market, I got in around $9,000, sometime around August or September. The price then rallied up to around $19,000. I made quite a lot of money. The price then dipped against me, and I sold all my crypto for like $17,000. I bought like half a Bitcoin. I then by that point I made myself near enough 10k. It pulls back, I sell it, I then get forced to buy back into Bitcoin when it's all the way up here. So instead of just holding, I'm then missing out on another like 32% that I could have just had if I held on. So guys, I know that's a very long-winded way of telling you to not panic and not be like that girl in the show who gets the bee on her, and just have some faith in what you're being told right now. The crypto bull market is still very much at an early stage. We're not anywhere near the top of the bull market. Things are going to look much more promising from here on out. Now, if you enjoyed that little Squid Games part, great. Let me know about it down below. If you didn't, then I'll live. Hopefully it's just a little bit more interesting than just telling you that crypto is going sideways every single day for the last 2.5 months. Now guys, I'm aware that my YouTube channel has over 230,000 subscribers, but I've only got 65,000 followers on Twitter, so do me a favor, go across and follow me on Twitter. You can see that I've actually already uploaded the different buy zones here before talking about them on YouTube. So if you want to understand what I'm going to talk about on YouTube before I do it, then make sure you're not only subscribed to the House of Crypto YouTube channel, but you also go and give me a follow over on the House of Crypto. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. Don't worry if things go towards the downside, because we're all good. If they don't and just bounce higher, we're still good. Hit the like button, subscribe. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.